everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with some Jegantha Prowess. This is another MHayashi list, one of the recent ones in which he is 5-0'd. So it would be helpful if I load the new deck list to Cardboard Live, but you know. Main thing with this list is it's toying with a lot of the cards from Zendikar Rising. Among them, Spikefield Hazard, how we're getting away with running only 16 lands. And another card it's running is Magmatic Channeler. So a couple of the new Zendikar Rising cards, in amongst some old faithfuls like Bluster Coil Weird, Monastery Swift Spear, and Soul Scar Mage. So you're running 20 creatures, 12 1-drops, the 4 Channelers, the 4 Bone Crusher Giants. Beyond that, almost your entire deck is a 1 casting cost spell, including Light Up a Stage, which is generally a 1 casting cost spell. And then the way you're getting away with running only 16 lands is running Spikefield Hazard. Now obviously this card does have the downside of the mana source comes into play. Absolutely nothing, Foz. We're just getting rolling. So, Spikefield Cave comes into play tapped. Spikefield Hazard does 1 damage to any target. If that target would die this turn, exile instead. I know somebody brought this up as a answer to Uro, like before they sacrifice it to the trigger, Spikefield Hazarding it to exile it. I don't know if that's reason enough to play, but being able to lower your land count in a almost 1-drop deck seems like a good thing, although we'll see how often the tap land comes back to bite us as it being one of our only mana sources. Beyond that, he's made some changes to some of his other builds. Relic and Blood Moon are usually among the normal things Matt is running. Those are definitely his normal things. Shenanigans takes the place of the same slot where he has Shattering, Spree, Abrade, etc. A new one that I've seen pop up, and I believe this popped up in the Mono Red or Red-Green deck we played, is 4 copies of Ratchet Bomb. I'm not sure how I understand the theory behind it is mainly it's an easy answer to Death Shadow. What's up, Seek Nair? And Foz tonight. It's an answer to like Death Shadows and stuff, but it does run kind of counterintuitive to all your own 1-drops. And it is an answer to things like Leyline over time. So there's a lot of utility with this card, although it can be a little bit slow in some spots. So how does it beat Ghostly Prison? Probably burns their face, Foz. There aren't too many people in the world that wish to play Ghostly Prison in the current format, although you would certainly be one of them. So let's get rolling in the league, as I'm hoping to get to some World of Warcraft tonight. We'll see how that goes. Depends on how tired I get here. Looks like MHayashi has some competition this time around with Principe, Perut, and Punt and Wine all kind of taking the lead from him. Don't face Ghostly Prison. Ghostly Prison's more of a problem for straight aggro decks than it is for burn-based prowess decks. Burn or prowess decks, but still an annoying card to play against. That's why you play Destructive Revelry in your burn deck. Granted, there are only so many cards you can play to answer things. Alright, wish our opponent good luck. This hand's pretty interesting. We already have 2 lands, so we don't necessarily have to play Spikefield Hazard as a land, so we're definitely going to keep. See, the thing with Jegantha is Jegantha can be both a thing for 5-color Niv, and it can also be for us. So it's a little less easy to lock on. Looks like we're playing against mill right off the bat, so this isn't going to be the best turn in the world. In some ways, do we actually want them to mill here? Guess we just go ahead and attack. It's unlikely they'll block. Getting a free point of damage here. Play out the channeler. That way if they mill us, things could get a little bit awkward for them. And we can always kill the crab next turn. Another nice thing about this build is we're not particularly interested in searching for lands, so opponent puts 2 lands in a, or 2 creatures in a mountain in our graveyard. Not exactly the best for us in terms of, there's a light at the stage, so we finally have 1 creature in the yard. Sure. Kill your crabby, kill your crabby. And we're attacking with 6 power on turn 3. Got another channeler. Don't turbo your channeler. Yeah, pretty much. Visions of Beyond. So they're only drawing 1, that's fine. Two, 6. I think we have lethal here. At least 1 lava dart hanging out here. I think this is just lethal. Don't think there's too much I'm playing around. Out of mill. Oh, we do mill ourselves with Blister Coil Weird, which is a little awkward, but just kill him on turn 4. Oh. Let's go into Right Sweet Liberties. We're just kind of getting rolling. First match, and we're playing mill. So, kind of wish Hayashi was here, but I think against mill, probably want shenanigans for Ensnaring Bridge and Orb. So the other things they present us with crabs. I think Relic's too cute. Blood Moon could potentially be okay, but they are only a 2-color deck, so I don't know if that messes with them too terribly much. It could be okay, Foz. I just don't know that that's a game we want to play. Like, there's nothing really they're playing out of their graveyard. I guess to counteract Crypt Incursion, maybe we're supposed to bring it in. Question is, yeah. Am I just getting rid of the Flame Slashes? Doesn't feel like we need Flame Slash for the crabs, per se. Although Lava Dart doesn't actually kill their crabs, so I think we actually board out Lava Dart first. And then Spikefield Hazard we have to leave in because it's one of our lands. which is kind of weird to say, right? And then let me shape a light up the stage. I mean, there are certainly other ways we can lose to mill, but yeah, Crypt Incursion definitely makes their life a little bit easier. It's kind of funny, two of the people that I like spend a lot of time consuming their content are kind of clashing inadvertently. Surprise, Ghostly Prison. I have a feeling I'm going to be getting a prison donation deck soon, aren't I, Foz? Yeah, sounds fun. It's not like amazing, but it's fine. Like, they have certain cards against us that are good. Whatchamacallit? The 1-mana exile a card from the graveyard. Been seeing a lot lately. Why am I drawing a blank on it? Oh, you're out of the country right now. Okay, that makes sense. Fatal Push? Blood Chief's Thirst. Yeah, Cling to Dust. Thanks, Ando. Just gonna stomp this now. No reason to get fancy. Wish we could find one of our shenanigans, but c'est la vie. We play our threat. Obviously, if they have bridge, we're in some trouble, but it's the Crypt Incursion that we figured they had. Fortunately, we're kind of inadvertently doing a deck tech for our opponent. Feels like they have a Blood Chief's Ascension in their hand, the way they went to try to tap mana. Not realizing that big boy over there is a 3 casting cost. Oh, okay. So our opponent with Stern Dismissal. Not a card I was expecting to play against, although it did save them quite a bit of damage here. This is probably Blood Chief's Ascension. It requires a lot of black mana that they don't seem to have. Flame Slash looking pretty awkward here. Fireball. Dun 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 dun. Yep. Shenanigans. Fortunately, without lava darts in our deck, we don't have any. Okay, what is this? Crypt Incursion. Well, that is a card, unfortunately. The Exile of Curiosity. That's a lot of creatures. The land thing first. Oh. Maybe. Feels like they might have had that encryption for a good bit of time, but yeah, it's definitely possible. Possible. Fatal Push, sure. Opponent's got crabs. One card in hand. Hopefully it's not a particularly good one. Field of Ruin. Yeah, that's not a particularly good one. Okay, that's just lethal. It's the victory lockup. Yep, that's the victory lockup. Alright. Twas definitely the victory lockup. Jegantha. His hand's definitely a little bit weird, but I do think we keep it. Hopefully we don't get hit by a discard spell and lose our second land drop. Coil Weird, go. Some variant of Tron. Hopefully this is not. Okay, we are up against Green Tron. Not that we have a particularly fast draw, but this is one of the things about these decks is we are a little bit weaker to things like Tron than traditional Burn is. Yeah, it's pretty good against life gain, but Tron's more about board presence. Like, don't get me wrong, Tron has life gain, but Tron's more about board presence. Lava Dart. Light the stage. Mountain. Cast Spikefield Hazard. Problem is our opponent's going to have Tron here, and if they have Worm Coil Engine, I don't think we can win. Karn we might be able to beat. Maybe. And even that one is particularly sketchy. We've got a poke Karn here, which kind of sucks. They get a card out of our hand, which is kind of whatever. I think the bigger problem is just we can't deal them enough damage. I've seen it a couple times, generally not in this kind of a matchup, but certainly could be something that comes up. So we're just going to get O-stoned here. I don't think we're winning this game. I'll give it another turn. I guess I should have put Jegantha in my hand. That was a little bit of a punt, so if we rip a land... Scavenger Grounds is an interesting one. Firebolt doesn't particularly matter there because we're not going to be able to flash it back at any point in this game with these cards going. It's certainly a possibility. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and scoop here. We're not going to be able to deal them 10 points of burn damage before they either restart the game or keep us out of lands, so... Definitely want the Blood Moons. Probably interested in the Shenanigans. Definitely can go down the Flame Slashes. It's possible the Channeler is also too slow. I guess I'd like to go first. It's effectively a split card between a late game Tarmogoyf and a Abbot of Carol Keep. It's a 1/3 that becomes a 4/4 when there's 4 or more instants and sorceries in the graveyard, and you can tap it, discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you may play one of them. So it's kind of like some weird hybridization of Jace Prodigy and or Abbot of Carol Keep and Tarmogoyf. I think this hand's a keep. Once again, not the fastest start, especially with the awkwardness of the lands, but still pretty reasonable overall. Because we do have two comes into play tap lands here in addition to our untapped mountain. Hopefully they don't have Dismember here. Dismember could make our progression really awkward. Tap lands are going to bite us here. Slow that land development down a little bit. That was dumb. Because if they have a 4th land here, we just lose both of our creatures for not really enough damage. And I should have played Spike Hazard as a land out there. Some of them do. Some of them you have the option of not. The mythic ones come into play untapped. The other ones come into play tapped. I'm only going to bold here because I'm presuming they're going to crack their blast zone here. This leaves us the ability to play Bone Crusher Giant at least post-combat. Means they have Tron next turn. It's 3 damage plus 4 damage. We're close, but not quite there. So is it better to play Spike Field Hazard to be able to flashback Firebolt, or to play it as a spell? If they have Thrag Tusk, obviously we're in a lot of trouble. So what cards in our deck can actually beat what's going on here? Is it just 3 copies of Bolt? It's a win here. Yeah, I'm just debating whether it's better to get back Shenanigans or just take a draw at Bolt. That one's not terrible. Problem is, I still don't think we're winning this game, but yep. Oblivion Stone. Lava Dart and Firebolt. Four, 6, 7. So once again, we're 2 points short. I think we have to Shenanigans the O-Stone. It's not great for us, but at least it keeps them from blowing things up, I guess. Don't think we're winning this game at this point. That's a 14. Just cast an Ugin here. Oh, sure. Another worm coil. Alright. I don't know how many times I lose to Tron with any variant of Prowess, really. Kind of feels of a bit of a shame. Just want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight so far. Lots of people in chat. Reveal Jegantha. This hand is... So we're on the play. This hand's pretty reasonable on the play. Spikefield Hazard might be our third land, or even second land, depending on how things go. Obviously, if our creature dies, we're in some trouble, but... Looks like our creature is dying. Doesn't save our dude, obviously, but it does deal them more damage, at least this turn. Stevens, go. Not quite sure what to make of that yet. Looks like we're up against 4 Color Uro Pile, possibly. Just attack with Swiss Spear here first. Hopefully this resolves. I don't think it will, but... Man, it's such an annoying card to play against sometimes. Well, if only we'd held up Spikefield Hazard, right? Uro. Alright, nice to pull out that one. Ugh. Definitely want the relics. Definitely want the moons. So the problem is, Flame Slash is actively terrible in a lot of spots, unless we're killing Omnath, but we didn't see white out of them, and double spelling to kill Uro, which just feels bad overall. So I think it's force Flame Slash out. And as far as the other cards, is it just crazy to board out the lava darts? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Lava Dart the correct second board out besides Flame Slash? This hand doesn't have any of our hate cards, but seems pretty reasonable overall. Got 2 1-drops, got a Channeler. Got some other stuff going on here. Obviously, it doesn't beat their best draws, but then again, I don't know that too many of our draws actually beat their best draws. Yeah, I suppose, but the problem still becomes... Okay, so they are the 4-color... They are the 4-color nonsense. So maybe we want Flame Slash in. Wow. They just concede like that. Actually, I do apologize. I'll be right back. I need to go get some more water. The heck is that, Foz? King chair. Oh. So we are on the draw against good player 95. I do think this hand's a keep, but obviously the one lander a bit awkward. Alright, so try him. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Maybe I wasn't supposed to keep the one lander. Kind of hard to say. This feels like a functional hand, especially if it has second land and with light up the stage. Just feels like we have a good chance. Man, I heard they're a good player. Foz with a comedy. In some ways, it's a shame that Space Marine isn't around for you to play off of anymore. I know you love to irritate the ever-living crap out of him. Kind of got us with the main leak here. Still don't think it changes our play pattern. Actually, we're kind of glad they did the Swiss Spear, but at the same time, kind of not. Oh, he's everywhere except my channel. Yeah. Every time I look in comments sections, I see him like, oh, gross. Whoa. Our blister coil weirds didn't just die. I am greatly appreciative of that. Okay. Trigger these. Suspect this lay at the stage is going to eat a counterspell of some kind, but can't really sit around against what's likely a Uro Pile here. Remand. Take care of the Ren 6. Hour of Promise. Yeah, that's just probably not beatable. With one card in hand, they have a guaranteed Nether Zombie next turn. So I can Bone Crusher, kill one Zombo, induce them to block, Flashback Lava Dart. Alternatively, I could Bone Crusher their face, still induce the double blocks. But I think we get through one less damage that way, so I think I'm supposed to Bone Crusher a zombie. Their upkeep fetching. Putting back what? Another Hour of Promise. This is 2 Uro Piles in a row. Uro's going to make it a lot rougher. I think we're winning this particular game, but alright, Foz, thanks for hanging out tonight while you're on vacation. Appreciate that. Right, Uro's coming back. We can't beat that. Alright, 4-color Uro Pile means relics, and blood moons. Is it crazy to bring in ration bombs? Just for the zombies? I won't ever say never, but I think Uro is a good card in Modern, but not absurd. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a nightmare for strategies I like to play. But there's a lot of decks that just don't care about what Uro itself represents. Like, there's a world of difference between Uro and Oko as to what they do. And there are far more ways to fight Uro than there is Oko. I honestly think Astrolabe kind of pulled the meta back to where it was with it getting banned. Do I like playing against 4-color Uro Piles? No. But especially since they like to bring in Ether Gusts usually too. And this is a hand. We play Spike. No, we gotta play Swiss Spear on one, so we're just going Mountain here. It's actually has the potential to be a really good hand, I should say. I think I'm just playing Channeler this turn, so no. That's not correct. Just playing Relic this turn, not Channeler. Because we want to play Spikefield Hazard to set up Blood Moon next turn if we can. So how's everybody else doing tonight? See, A10, I've seen you in chat before. Commander Root. Dope Dragon, not familiar with that one. Josh X. Lur XX. Sweet Liberties I've seen. That Tasted Good I've seen. Oblivion's End Gaming I've seen. A little bit dumb post-combat, but no reason to add to our mistake by not playing it pre-combat. We did miss a point of damage that way, so they should be at 16. Alright, If they have force, they do. If they don't, then they're in trouble. Yep. Can't play that at instant speed, so no sense in doing a thing. Trying to protect them from like running 6. It's like one of the few cards they could play in this spot. Hour of Promise, sure. Get to crack this now, but they do get to start playing a little bit of Magic next turn, especially if they have Omnath here. Teferi Time Raveler, that one's annoying. Choose not to bounce. Why wouldn't you bounce Blood Moon there? That seems incorrect. Okay, go to 6. That's just the floor, right? Alright, we got lucky we stole that game with Blood Moon and they didn't have Force of Negation. Now we gotta win one on the draw. This is where I'm much more interested in Ratchet Bombs. Just for zombie tokens. Still feels like that's too much though. Get Jegantha with it. No, 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 no. Is this hand a keep? I guess so. Might have to do the spike field hazard thing. Play one of them out and just hold up a... Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing this turn. But I also wanted to make sure we hit our third land drop in case we hit Blood Moon next turn. Let's be a little bit more respectful of Blood Moon here. That's just going to pass the turn. Alright, so bolt you. Magnetic Channeler. I think we're playing that one out. Good chance this just dies, but... or gets bolted or any of that kind of nonsense. See how much they play around Blood Moon here. All right. Problem is, like, the problem I have with, like, Spike Field Hazard in this matchup is, like, even if we Spike Field Hazard their Uro, like, they're still gaining 3 life and drawing a card, you know? You know, we're still trading a card, exile an Uro, that's already gaining 3 life and drawing a card. Really need to fly into Blood Moon or this game's over. Well, to be fair, a lot of decks have benefited from power creep. You know, even Burn and Prowess have benefited from power creep, you know? Burn's gotten Canyon Lands, it's gotten Molten Vortex, it's gotten that kind of stuff. Prowess wouldn't be a deck without power creep, lava dart, etc. coming back into the format. 3, 6, 8, 10. Guess we start firing it off at the face. Not much of a chance of winning here, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Another hour of promise? hmm. I was actually wrong to play that mountain there. Should have played the Spike Field Hazard. What realistically gets us out of this, out of curiosity? Probably not much. Still don't think we're winning here, but even if this resolves. Yeah, I mean, if we wanted to join the fight, we could play Uro too, I suppose. I mean, we did that. Some of us did that shenanigans with Oko, so why not do it with Uro? GG Bud 1717. Interesting. Guess that's perfectly reasonable. Tron. Really hope this is not Eldrazi Tron, but if it is, it is. It's feeling like... Nope, it's Green Tron. Alright. It's a chance at a rematch of sorts. You just have natural Tron. That's kind of hard to beat. Especially since this looks like a Thrag Tusk. Yep, Arm Coil Engine. I'm really finding this matchup kind of hard from the Prowess side. I don't know what it is, if it's just the dependence on 1-drop creatures or what that makes it a difficult matchup. For whatever reason, Tron is just proving to be a difficult matchup. Like, that's one of the few matchups where I'm playing with Prowess where I genuinely feel I'd rather be on burn. Turn 3 Blood Moon. I think we keep this hand. Well, potentially turn 3 Blood Moon, I should say. That's rough. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. See if they get a forest here instead. Yep. Indicates either Nature's Claim or some type of... They might have already had Natural Tron anyway. Glowstone? Sure. Not playing out the Swiss Spear this turn because we want to get this guy down because he doesn't have haste. Crawling Barrens. Interesting. Throw our opponent to 3 here. Third Tusk would obviously be annoying. Puts them to 8. I think I'm supposed to attack here. This gives us the out of drawing some type of thing to kill them through a Worm Coil Engine. Maybe I was supposed to dread shenanigans there. I still think a 3/3 is problematic regardless, so 3/3 lifelinker. So, the thought process with Matt's builds, MHayashi, whatever you want to call him, is for a red deck, it has remarkable grinding power. It has a lot of late game power for a Prowess deck without relying on Bedlam Reveler. It has, obviously, the 1-drop nut draws sometimes, which the decks are known for. But the one thing I've noticed about Prowess is it really struggles with some type of Tron or Uro-based strategy. Well, not Uro, but Tron. Simply because Tron plays to the board so well. And in the end, this is a board aggro deck. You're still relying on your creatures to do the heavy lifting on most of the damage. Like, you do have some reach with, your various spells. But you are very much a board-centric deck. And decks that can play to the board can beat you. Decks like Death Shadow, decks like Uro, decks like Tron, obviously. And while Blood Moon does help mitigate some amount of, slows them down, etc., I do wonder, at least against Tron specifically, if Cleansing Wildfire wouldn't be better. Simply because it's a 2-mana play rather than a 3-mana play. And Tron can play through Blood Moon. Now, there's obviously a lot of other matchups where Blood Moon's good. You saw it help us steal Game 2 against one of the Uro piles. I'm still not a huge fan of Ratchet Bomb. I understand the applications for it, but I've still not been a huge fan of Ratchet Bomb in this deck. As far as shenanigans, it's nice to have a recursive way to deal with artifacts like Ensnaring Bridge or whatever else that we saw tonight. But I think the fact that his sorcery speed is really a downside in certain regards. There are certain spots there where, obviously we couldn't dredge it back, but being able to abrade mid-combat to, blow up a Worm Coil Engine and get through maybe that last couple of points of damage. If that shenanigans wasn't a braid sitting in our hand, we would have been able to, attack with the 3 guys, a braid get in 2 more points of damage, and then maybe have some type of top deck, since they're only cracking for 3 life gain on the way back, which put us to 5. I don't know. I respect MHayashi, playing with different cards, trying out different things. And obviously I don't have the same success he has with his decks. I don't know if it's just the burn mindset or what. I've had some success. The last time I played one of his decks, I did go 4-1 with Channeler Prowess, which was a little bit different variant than what we were playing here. But it definitely feels like Tron is a bad matchup. And maybe I'm just, approaching it the wrong way. Maybe when Matt sees this video, or I can message him on Twitter and ask. But it just feels like that's a bad matchup for Prowess decks. Whereas Burn, I'm not even sure, the way Tron decks have been built lately with the main deck Thrag Tusks and the main deck Worm Coil Engines, I'm honestly not even sure now that it's even a good matchup for Burn. I think it's an okay matchup, but not a good matchup. So, not really particularly sure on Tron. Uro Piles are going to be a rough matchup for anybody. Whether it's Burn, Tron, Jund, it really almost doesn't matter what deck you're playing, other than maybe something like Ad Nauseam. It's just a deck that's packing Force of Negations, Field of the Dead, Uro, Omnath in some cases. It's just really hard to attack them on some angle that isn't on the stack. Maybe Storm is okay against them. I'm not quite sure. I don't really play enough. I actually don't think I've ever played the modern iteration of Storm. One of the few decks in the format that I haven't played some variant of. But especially with Force of Negation, it just feels like they have everything covered if they find the cards. And when you're looking at things like Uro and Omnath, and we even played against a version last night that was still running Quaddle, you're going to see a lot of cards. And just those 3-4 color mid-range decks are so hard to attack. Blood Moon, we got a game. There are ways to steal games. And even the last matchup we played last night, if I would have Bone Crusher Gianted the Omnath instead of their face, we probably would have won game 3. So I think those games are very close in a lot of different ways for the red decks. I don't think they're good matchups, but I don't think they're terrible. So I think that's it for my rambling on this version of Jegantha Prowess. Now, obviously, I don't know